Happy Monday. How's everyone? We are good. And you know what? It's crazy because we are May 1st. Happy May. But it's freezing. What is going on? I just went and flipped all my summer clothes now. What the hell, right?
Whatever, it'll be back soon enough.
Okay, I have a coat on now.
Yeah, look at you. You're like full.
But it's so cold.
I'm wearing like cords and a sweater.
Right?
Yeah.
But I refuse that. I'm wearing white pants now. I don't care.
Whatever.
But again,
we're just
I wear
lame.
white
like,
jeans all year round.
60 degrees. We're just lame.
Yeah, we're really lame, but it's freezing. I don't know why, because it was so cold before.
Yes.
Anyways, no worries. Okay, some exciting things to show you. Obviously, I'm still on the metallics. And a lot of people have asked, can I show it close up so you can get a good idea? Matt, can you see through your lens, does this look like the rose gold?
We always have trouble with the actual color.
I'm going to put it up against white. It's so pretty.
Different. Yeah, hold it
right?
still there.
It has like a slightly pink hue to it.
Yeah, it's not showing that pink hue as much.
It's so pretty. Just, I think if you can imagine rose gold jewelry, that's what it looks like. It's that pretty. I love the sky. And then I was playing with this. I was like, damn,
maybe
this I
hold
could
it
take
next
into
to the silver one, and maybe it'll
right. So you
force
can see the difference, right? It's so pretty.
Helpful. But
And
it's showing, look how
it.
yellow it looks compared to. Like
Right, it's not like a gold. It's like a pinky gold.
It's got a pink part.
It's hard. So anyways, I just wanted to show it, and I'm still not doing a good job of it, I guess, but wanted to show you the silver. I was like, hey, I have sort of a winter type outfit on, and it just looks fantastic. Like either silver or gold. And because someone did ask, like, is this all year round? Yes, it's all year round. Look at how nice that looks, Marge. With that metallics are going to go into winter, and it's going to be a big deal. So I really do love how this looks. I think with just all these like kind of wintry outfits, I think it looks great. So anyways, and then of course the butterscotch.
But then like you keep saying, summertime, suntan,
yes,
gold.
I think that's why it's great. It's all year round, but it's such a fun thing to take on vacation. We've had so many people who were like, I'm going on vacation May 15th. Can you send this? And I'm like, yes. Like, how good does that look? Does that look great? So anyways, really, I love it. So this is awesome. And then what I wanted to show you was we did it in the PTTV. We got these new acrylic straps in for summer. And I just wanted to show them to you. They're going to be online today. And I was just like playing with them. I think these are such a fun way to kind of jazz up everything. So like I was playing with the little buddies. And if you look at the little buddies, especially like in butterscotch, I love the butterscotch. I love this guy. What did we say this looks like? A caramel? Like,
yeah,
you just want to
like
eat
those
it?
where there's caramel.
I mean, look at how
really
cool.
close. Here, don't move it so it'll focus.
It looks so cool, right? As we were playing with it, I think it looks really cool as a neutral on neutral. I think that looks really elegant. And I love it on the sling. I think that looks so cool. I love how that looks. I think it's so pretty. The butterscotch is a great medium for any of these colors. I mean, I love the dark navy blue. I think that looks so rich. That just looks great. I love, this is called, I love this color. This green is so pretty. Doesn't that look malachite? I have a malachite ring. Look how nice that looks.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's exactly like the color. If you imagine the malachite, that's what it looks like. And I think it's super cool. And again, it goes with the metallics, which I love. Like on the silver, it looks so cool. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And then I'm a personal, I don't know why, but I love this color of pink. This really bright pink for summer. And again, it's like when you're tan, I just love how it looks great against the butterscotch. I think it's so fun. So I know it's a weird thing for me to like a pinky color, but I love pinks with camels. I think it looks so cool, like a little shot of it. So I love that. And then I love the orange. The orange is such a great orange because it's like a really cool deep orange. It's just so expensive looking. I love how this looks. And then we've been having so many people buy this wonderful chain, which I love. Oh yeah, look at that. Don't they look great? The chain is great if you want to add it to your repertoire, if you want a cool crossbody. I think this is a great one to have. Just if you want to dress up some of your things just for nighttime, this is great. Like, how awesome is this just to have a little chain gun? How cute is that? Isn't that good? I think this is a great useful tool to have in your shed. in your wardrobe. It's like tools. It's really important to have important tools, and I find this is a good tool to have. I really love a great chain, and you could clip it onto anything, especially when you want to dress it up a bit. And the chains have been really great with the sling bags. I love this gold chain with the rose gold. I think that looks so cool. Look how cool that looks. I just love how that looks. I think it's so cool. And it's so comfy and cute. That's so cute. Isn't that good? So anyways, I just wanted to show you the new fun little goodies we've had. And I think if it's Mother's Day, so if you were looking for a really cool gift for your mom, I think a sling bag might be cool if it's something different. Or any of our, today we shot the yellow with the pink. I just love that one. This one, and then it comes in the sling bag too, but we don't have any in the store right now because it's been so popular. So this one has been great. I love it. With just like, again, this outfit, I think it looks so cool and such a really cool pop. And it's just, the colors are so good. Look how pretty that is. I love the yellow and the pink. I think it's so, and the leather is just so soft. And then I love the yellow sling too. It's so pretty. It's really pretty with camel too. Wow. Anyways, so that's what's going on here. What else is going on? Did everyone have a good weekend? Matt went to a basketball tournament. And he ended up going, Matt, what did you do? That was so cool.
It was a good tournament, first of all. Thatcher is really focusing on his game, so that was great.
Fun to see. It's always good to see that.
That was down in Long Beach, California. So we were like, and we had a lot of time on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, where can we go in LA? So we're driving up to more sort of like the Melrose Hollywood area, just to like, I was going to take him to some stores he wanted to see.
Right.
But on the way up, I was like, what's playing at the Hollywood Bowl?
That's so crazy.
I had him look up, and he's like,
Willie Nelson.
This guy, Willie Nelson.
This guy.
Because Thatcher doesn't know.
I know.
90th birthday celebration, and it was insane. It was a 2-day thing.
It was like
one day.
1 million of your favorite singers decided to all do one song.
And that's what the concert was. It went
crazy.
From like 7 till I feel like 11, and it was like a lineup of 20. It felt like performers,
and it
all
ranged.
like from like Snoop Dogg
to Neil
Jack
Young,
Johnson to Neil
Jack
Young,
Johnson,
Jennifer Garner, Owen Wilson, like, and they all just did one song.
Chris Stapleton,
Chris Christopherson.
So crazy.
It was Thatcher's like,
so
I don't know
crazy.
any of these people, but I think
he had a lot of fun.
I think he had a lot of fun.
And then it was just fun. So anyway, so that's always a good thing. And I think I was telling Matt, for all the parents who have to do these tournaments, and I know every single one of you do these really long, hard tournaments. I think, especially in the Midwest, everyone does these crazy hockey tournaments that are just even more insane. I think you just have to see it as like, this is a lot of time you get to spend with your kid that you just can't have. Because even on these busy days, we go pick them up, drop them off at school, go pick them up. It's an hour here, an hour there, but it's not like a full 3 days, and then you get to really hang out. So I think if you see it that way, and the tournament's just the icing on the cake because you get to watch them play a sport, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like that you guys went and did all these cool things.
Yeah, it was fun. It was worth it because we also just wanted to lounge around, but then we're like, no, let's go.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. So that's what's going on.
Ultimately, it was about just hanging out.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think for us to just leave with one, I'm always like to leave with one gem of wisdom. Mm-hmm. So we've been doing the you are what you think, which I think is like the big idea, which I love. And I think it's something to really ponder. And I think it's something to take into your day every day. And you are what you think is going to be different for everybody because I don't know what you're thinking, right? But focus on the thing that you really want to be and I think that allows for you to think about it all the time. And that's really important. And then that's all about, it's so funny when people say paradigm change, and it's always such a word that's being just tossed around. And it was funny because I was listening to this thing this morning with the older guys that did it in the 1920s, and they're explaining paradigm change. And I think it's really important to look at it in terms of changing your subconscious. Because what is paradigm change? And I think that's where it's really interesting, where you think, well, is that just changing your outlook? Like, what do you think of when you say, hey, we need to do a paradigm change? How did that guy
define it? It was really interesting.
He defined it as, in order to change the paradigm of how you look, the lens through you see things, a paradigm change actually is not just changing your conscious, which I think people think about, like changing the way you see, like your conscious versus your subconscious, you really have to really do the work of, I think, meditation. People can reach their inner selves in many ways, maybe through therapy. You have all your ways that you can activate that. But unless you get to the core of that and you change that subconscious, you can't really change you can't just be like, I want to change my paradigm or the way I see things.
Yeah, and
I think it's much harder than it sounds.
Super interesting about the way he presented it was, remember how he split conscious versus unconscious,
right.
subconscious?
Right.
And that's fine, whatever, we all know about that. But he made the point, and it really stuck with me, that the subconscious will, like a field, grow whatever you plant in it. Like, it doesn't discriminate. So if you plant weeds, it will grow weeds. So if you plant negative thoughts, it'll grow negative thoughts.
Right.
If you plant flowers or desirable plants, that's what will grow. So you have to be careful what you seed your subconscious with.
Correct. But I think before you even go to the point of seeding it,
but that's related to the paradigm shift.
But people don't even...
So, like, shift from being a negative person to a positive person.
Correct. However, I think the question is, how do you do that? Like, people don't teach you that. So I think it's like, how do you even seed your subconscious? Like, who's answering that? He doesn't really answer, but I personally, I'm like, that means that's what the work is. The work is all these things that we've been talking about for the last 3 years. That's the work. The work is what you learn when like all these things that you do, like doing these runs, when they get really hard, and when you get to that place where it's like you dig deep, that's when I think you go into your subconscious, and that's where the work happens. So you have to find it within yourself, like, what is your vehicle for getting into that subconscious and really changing that part? And that's a lot of work, and it's really hard. And for us, I think we've finally come to this place where this meditation is finally taking, because I think
the meditation, a large part of what the meditation does for us is feeding the subconscious.
Correct. Right. But I think we didn't really understand how to do it. I didn't really know how to do it properly, or
just like the larger picture of why we're doing it.
Right. But I think you couldn't even get to the whole meditation part without just start, and that's where it's so strange. Like, that's why I'm saying, what are you thinking about, right? So this whole journey started, I think, with things that have happened in our lives, and then we're like, hey, maybe we should get our act together and start exercising for 15 minutes. And that was just like to be healthier, But that to be healthier has taken us down this whole road to where we are now, where we're finally realizing, like, oh my God, we could do this meditation work, and it actually can then get into your subconscious, and then that's how you're actually going to change the paradigm of how you see things. But it takes so much work, I guess, but I think that's where it is. But it sounds crazy, but net, the first thing you need to do is maybe just change your focus on what you want to be and think about that. And by starting that journey, I swear it will lead you down this path if you decide to be curious and open to everything, to where you're like, whoa, now I understand what this work is. Because I think that's where a lot of questions come about too, like, how do you do the work? And it's so hard to answer.
Well, I think a huge part of what you said, but I think a huge part of it too, really, and I believe this more and more as time goes on, is you really need to pay attention to the positive or the negative aspects of your thinking.
Yes.
And catch yourself when you have a negative take on something, and discard that and try and turn it around into a more positive paradigm shift.
Correct.
Like, that's, like what you said with the running around halfway around the state and spending the whole weekend doing the basketball. Yes. We're like, well, you could think of it as a negative thing, or you could think of it as a positive thing, like you did, which is it's precious time spent with your kid.
And then you see the whole thing in a different way.
So it's like this, or like even at the beginning of this video, you were like, oh, it's weird that I would, no, it's not. You're like, it's weird that I would like pink or something. It's like, that's negative. It's like, no, it's not that. It's like, this pink's amazing.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
So it's like, just don't, I think everybody
you have to catch yourself.
Just like stop, because you're feeding your unconscious that negative.
Correct.
And then the unconscious is doing its work.
Yep.
And it's producing negative.
Yep.
Because you fed it negative.
Yep.
So it's like, now, I think there's toxic positivity too, where like you live in denial and everything's great. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm like, yes, face reality, deal with your stuff and reality, and life is tough and life is unfair, but to the extent that you can see things in a positive light as you're taking care of business,
it's a good way to do it.
so.
I really agree with that, and so we'll leave you with that to think about. It's a lot.
It's a heavy Monday morning.
It's a lot coming all at one time, but I think we're seeing all these things, and it's like, how do we put all these little bullet points that we find into a way where it like makes sense, because it just keeps coming at us, and you're like, oh yeah, okay.
I think
but
it needs to be part of the handbook.
Yes,
right?
And that leads us to say that we started a how to eat. What is it? Ease and elegant. Oh, it's just called a handbook, right?
It's the handbook.
Yeah, and it's all about these things that we talk about.
We started
it's all
thinking,
about these
we're
things.
going to do a blog. And we're like, that doesn't really capture what we're trying
I'm not
to
into
do.
the concept of a blog.
But if you've been with us a long time, you've always heard how we're like trying to figure out how to do a book or whatever. But it's like, this is, I think, the best we've come up with.
I think it's live now on our website, so check it out. And we're just going to add things. The handbook on just how to ease in elegance. I think this all comes down to that. How do you ease in elegance? How do you go through your life in a easier and happier way?
It's like we all love actually, don't we have it like right here, the preppy handbook? So
right.
We're like inspired by that to do the ease and elegance.
I'm really excited about it, and what we're going to do is start adding. I get so many great hacks that people send me, like great recipes, great, like, hey, did you ever think about, I use this to do this, and you're like, whoa, crazy, awesome idea. So I think what we're going to do is start taking some of those ideas and also adding them to the handbook. So if you guys have any, and then you know what, it's great, because you know what, your little ease and elegance.
And by handbook, we mean online.
Yes, yes, but your ease and elegance could help someone in a really huge, profound way.
Yes.
So I think if you're just like, hey, going through your day and you're like, what do I want to add? Send us a DM with something that you're like, hey, this is a hack I always use, and if we think it really works into the ease and elegance handbook, let's do it. We'll put it in there and we'll share your ideas, because I think that's what's important is we have this huge community of people with such brilliant ideas, and why don't we just share it amongst each other?
Yeah.
And it could get better, and you might take one of those. All these ideas that we have about paradigm change may not resonate with you, but maybe someone else's might, and then it might start a new journey for you, which I think would be fantastic. So I think that's the key. And I think the reason why we start all these ideas, and even like, how did Matt and Irene decide that they do a handbag line and that's what they do? And then why do they talk about all this stuff, Because I think it's just really important. It's really important.
We're just driven to do it. Like, we're just listening to our inner voice to do it. And then now I think we're getting some perspective and understanding. Having done it all this time, we're asking the question, like, why are we doing, you know what I mean?
We don't, honestly, and I could answer why we started the whole thing was because, honestly, our good dear friend, and I think most people know her, not in a friendship way like we did, but like our friend Kate Spade, when she died, I think that really started this whole concept of thinking about things in a different manner. Like, I didn't understand mental illness in that way. That honestly
was the shock that got us thinking
out of, and all these things that we study, it always takes a huge shock that's so negative sometimes to get you into a space to be better. And I really, I think we really did that, honestly, and we're still striving to be better, but it's also how do you give back in your way? How do you share these things that you've learned along the way? And I think that's the key, and I think by her death, and you could just wallow in and be depressed and, go down this hole of just being so sad all the time, or you can be sad, obviously, all the time, think about it, but also then say, hey, how can I, what can I learn from this, and how do I get out of this?
I guess in a weird way, it's an example of what we're talking about. You could take a negative take on it or a positive take on it. So we're trying to do a positive take on it.
Yeah, and honestly, like, for me to get out of that funk was getting on the Peloton for 15 minutes, for crying out loud. And that, I was on the Peloton doing my thing, and then I decided, hey, maybe I'll listen to, what's a podcast? Like, ask Matt. I didn't even know what a podcast was when I first started this whole fitness journey after Katie died. Like, I didn't know what that was, really. And Matt was already deep into podcasts. And it was just these really weird things that you pick up. And he left a book on the side table, And I started riding the Peloton, and then I was like, maybe I'll start running again, because I used to run a lot. And then I'm like, cool. And then by the side table, I don't know why Matt had this book, and it was like this guy running, and I'm like, oh, cool, maybe it's a running book. I'll pick it up and take a look at it if he has some tips on how to be a better runner. And then it really wasn't. It was Rich Roll. And Rich Roll is this man who had a really bad alcoholism and came out of it through fitness. And it's a journey and it's a story. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I started reading about it. I started reading like the first couple of pages, and then that's when I was like, I don't know why. I started Googling Rich Roll, and then I was like, oh, he has a podcast? Okay, I'll try this podcast thing. And through his podcast, I think this is where the journey starts. So I think it's just like, it's different for everybody else, but this is how I started going down this rabbit hole of fitness, and through the fitness, and you're like, how can I eat better? And then eating better also then leads you down to this path of how do you mentally, get into a better mental state. And it wasn't, I don't even think I was getting into a better mental state. I was trying to figure out how I could do these endurance exercises better by being in a better mental state. And then that's when it just started, and I think you have to be curious. And I think that's what it is. You could just run and get on your Peloton and do nothing, and you won't, you might get fitter, but that's about it. But if you decide you're going to learn while you're doing it, good Lord, we have so much
and
to
again, all this can seem so overwhelming if you're starting from something.
Yeah,
and I think something that I heard, I guess, again recently, but it really resonated this time, is, who told us that one? But it's, the showing up is what's important.
Yeah.
And you're going to have
good days,
bad days, and don't fall into the perfectionist trap where it's like, today was a struggle for me just to get on the bike. And I was like, I'm just going to show up.
And the whole time you're on the bike, you're like, I don't feel like doing this at all. I don't want to do this. This sucks. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But finish it.
But it's critical to show up and do something poorly rather than not to show up.
Because if you don't show up and you don't do it, then the next day you might not show up. Then the next day for sure you're not going to show up. And then the fourth day you might show up and then you don't show up again. So I think it's just this consistency. And I think it really does work. Consistency pays off. So that's all. We just dumped a huge load of stuff all in one place.
That's what we're thinking about.
But we'll go into all these ideas, into break up into bite-sized ideas, I think, this week, because there's a lot there. All right. Bye, guys.